I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Staying Salty. I hope you could still recognize me. My name's Chelsea. I did get a little bit of a haircut, so hopefully you like it. But if you can't tell, I don't play the guitar whatsoever. I have zero musical talent. So I'm actually in Atlanta, Georgia, again visiting my boyfriend for Thanksgiving, and not in California. If you are wondering how in the world that happened, I'll put a link to the video that kind of describes how a California girl is dating an Atlanta boy somewhere in the description. But this week's topic is about the CF community. And honestly, if you can't tell, my lighting kind of sucks, and it's really late at night because I have been racking my brain for weeks about how to go about this topic. Because really, I just got in the CF community not too long ago myself. So it's really hard for me to even talk about a topic that I just kind of got into. But I guess where I want to start is how I grew up, and I really grew up completely out of the CF community. Now, there were a few factors to that, but the main one really was in the 90s, there was not really a lot of internet. And if you saw my other videos, I lived in the Virgin Islands. So no internet and living on an island, there wasn't much of a CF community back then. So I really grew up completely outside of the CF community, and I honestly loved it because it really allowed me to develop who I was as a person and who I am outside of CF. Because if you've seen my other videos, you already know CF isn't a main pillar in my life. It's not a main aspect of who I am, and it was never a main aspect of my family either. It was just a part of me, and then we went about our daily life. So growing up without that being so front and center in my life allowed me to develop who I was outside of CF and as a normal person. And I really think that was important growing up. Now, I do wish I had been in the CF community a little bit more as I got older, but it wasn't really until I was starting to get sick in college that I even started venturing into the CF community myself. Now, growing up, I was always open with my CF if anyone asked or had questions, but by no means was I out telling everyone. It was definitely something that people knew, maybe, but it was never a topic of conversation. So it wasn't really until college where I even started wanting to look for people who were kind of like myself, because I just never had that deep-seated desire to, connect with anyone who had CF. But it wasn't until I got sick where I started, looking on forums, looking on social media, because that was around the same time that social media had this giant boom. But what I found honestly terrified me. There was so much negativity, not towards each other at any means, but just I think around CF in general, whereas how I had grown up, I had never looked at CF negatively, really. I'm an obnoxiously positive and happy person, so seeing people, I guess, posting about being down and being sad about CF and going through these struggles, it really was a snapshot into my future and what could happen and what I could possibly go through, and it terrified me. So I immediately went back and abandoned that idea and wasn't in the CF community for a long time. It wasn't until I finally kind of reevaluated what the CF community was that I decided to come back into it. And this was a few years ago where I finally was like, I was learning a lot about different cultures and different kind of subgroups. I learned a lot about deaf culture and other subcultures within our society, and I was realizing how much I wasn't acknowledging my own community of cystic fibrosis. And so I thought to myself, if I want to go into this community, I want to go into it my way. And so I started coming into it very positively and exuding my own personality and posting pictures, posting statuses, things like that that I had never done before. And how I did that was I just started looking on Instagram and seeing the hashtags that people were using and following people. And I started slowly getting myself out there, but in a way that I knew if I had seen that when I looked the first time, I would have been more receptive to it. So I started posting from my point of view. And I got so much great feedback. There was so much positivity. And I definitely tried to bring a little bit of my personality into CF and show people the more positive aspects. And yes, it sucks. And yes, there's so many struggles. But I think as a whole, the CF community is just so closely knitted. And it's such an amazing community to be a part of. And I'm so happy that I can even say that I have my little bit of my footprint in the CF community. Because for a while, I was a blip on the radar. And it wasn't until really this video series that I even started putting myself out there, or anything like that. So if you're someone who's not a big sharer like I wasn't, don't worry. You could still be in the CF community. You could still make friends. You can still do everything without putting yourself out there if you're not comfortable with that. That brings me to my next topic. I have a piece of paper in case you're wondering, even though I'm still rambling. Whatever. If you're not one of those ones that wants to be super out there or super into the CF community, that's fine. I think what Larry said was balance is key. If I was super into the CF community and only lived in the CF community and only had friends in there, I would go crazy. I love all of my friends in the CF community, and I love everyone that I've met through it. But I think everyone needs a little bit of balance in their life. They need that balance of people understanding them and people going through the same struggles that they're going through with the CF, but they also need people who aren't, and who are normal, and who can go to the movies and do everyday things, since us CFers can't. I think another main thing is my family, similar to Chad's family, helps the CF community in a different way. My family and I help raise money for CF research. We just had a dinner at Johns Hopkins for a fundraiser where both my father and I spoke, and the doctors all spoke about their research, and it was so amazing to be a part of such a great group and feeling like I'm actually doing something and helping the progression of getting closer to a cure and helping everyone in the CF community by raising money and fundraising and being philanthropic. And that is another way, if you're not super into putting yourself out there and sharing your story, you can always go down that avenue and still be in the CF community and help everyone. Now, I know the CF community can be a little scary if you're just trying to get into it, but honestly, it's such an amazing and positive and uplifting group of people. Yes, there are the negatives, and yes, there are the scary aspects of it, but you have to understand that everyone is different. What you take away from it is all on you. And I think the main thing that I take away from it is the amazing help and support and understanding of everyone within the community, and how much everyone just wants to be there for each other and wants to help everyone by either giving them treatment advice, how some drugs worked for them and some didn't. There are endless amount of forums and conversations all over the internet about CFers trying to help other CFers, and I think that's the main reason that the CF community is so vital. It gives you someone to talk to and an outlet to vent to people who will understand, and for you to ask questions, sometimes those hard questions that you're too scared to ask either your family or your caregivers. I know I've met some of the greatest people through the CF community. Everyone in this group is so amazing, and like Larry said, we have a text thread going 24/7, always supporting each other and helping each other, and I think it's really just so great. And I know I love hearing back from all of you. Like Larry said, we don't do this for our own enjoyment. Well, it is kind of fun, but we do this for the 12-year-olds sitting in their bed, scared and not knowing what to do, and the only thing that they have is a laptop to search from, and hopefully they could stumble upon our videos and feel a little bit better at the end of the day. all of the comments and all of the messages that anyone has reached out to me. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me that what I'm doing and the fact that I'm sitting in a basement right now talking to a camera makes me feel like I'm a little less insane, because it's helping people and people out there are enjoying it and it's making a difference. So with all that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though it was kind of rambly. Sorry. Like I said, I'm new to this community too. So if you have any tips or anything, or apps or anything that you use, put them in the comments, because I'd love to use them and love to hear about them too. So stay tuned for next week. I will tell you, I've already filmed this video and it is hilarious. I'll put a little clip of it right here.
She is fresh out of surgery. And so, how do you feel?
So if you want to see what that's all about, stay tuned till next week, because believe me, you will not be let down. It's really funny. So I'll see you next week with a day in the life. So until then, all right, see you guys. Bye.